Greetings, Hands of Darkness, students of the Force, and archivists. Welcome back. I have been expecting you. Today we are going to be delving and immersing ourselves into the ancient Sith lore regarding the Old Republic era. The Old Republic era personally being my favorite era in all of Star Wars. The Old Republic was with no shortage when it came to exceptional and compelling Sith characters. Sith like Darth Malgus, Darth Vitiate, Marka Ragnos, Naga Sadow, and Lord Scourge truly made their mark on the galaxy, with many of them being exceptionally skilled warriors that rivaled the prodigious skill of beings such as Revan and Mace Windu. However, there is one Sith Lord that I wish to address today, perhaps the most powerful Sith Lord of all time with the exception of maybe a few, and the undisputed greatest lightsaber duelist to ever live. We are going to be talking about one of, if not the only Sith to ever single-handedly butcher hundreds, possibly even thousands of Jedi with his own bare lightsaber and hands. Yes, my friends, today I am going to be giving you an updated holocron on the Lord of Hate, the Master of the Gathering Darkness, Tulak Hord. Tulak Hord was referred to by Kreia originally in the Knights of the Old Republic 2 video game, stating that if you were to face an ancient Sith Lord in combat, you would learn that they are children playing with toys compared to the prowess of the old masters, with Kreia referring to Hord's prowess in lightsaber combat in this moment. Tulak Hord was a Dark Lord of the Sith that governed the Sith Empire in its early stages, commanding great forces and armies and possessing a mastery of the dark side of the Force and lightsaber combat that left him nearly unrivaled in his abilities. During battle, Hord wore a black mask, making him a fear-inspiring sight. While it is very vague on when Hord governed the Sith Empire, we can depict that it was centuries before 5000 BBY, with 5000 BBY being the primary time where Vitiate governed the Sith Empire, taking over after the Ritual of Nathema and the fall of the Great Hyperspace War. Now, let's get into it and explore Hord's history. A Force-sensitive male, Tulak Hord was a student of the dark side and a pupil of the early Sith Empire. Ascending through their ranks, Hord was feared by his rivals even in his early days. Having mastered the art of lightsaber combat and manipulation of the Force, during his early years, Hord fought an honorable duel against Jashade named Kem Val, who later became his most faithful ally. Assembling a massive cultist following, Hord and Val led a campaign of terror against rebellious militants on the planet Yin and Kabosh, crushing them instantly. While on the campaign, Hord was approached by a Sith known as Aloysius Kalig, who sought to serve him, having heard of his prodigious talent. However, Hord dismissed him. Kalig refused to accept dismissal, however, and challenged Hord's best general and defeated him. After Kalig's victory, Hord decided to accept him, seeing his power and prodigious talent was clearly something to exploit, as he led Hord's troops to numerous victories. During the battles, Hord employed his knowledge of the Sith rituals, draining the strength from his opponents and feeding off of it, earning the title of the Lord of Hate and Master of the Gathering Darkness, and finally, the Dark Lord of the Sith. Lord Hord went undefeated, slaying all who dared challenge his might, while Kalig's military prowess gained Hord enormous success. It also intimidated the Dark Lord, who feared that Kalig could eventually become a very dangerous rival. Hord decided to deal with that situation by having Kalig assassinated, with his family subsequently going into hiding afterwardly. Lord Hord continued his endeavours into the arts of Sith sorcery and alchemy, authoring many tomes of knowledge and crafting his own personal holocron, rumoured to have known the secret to eternal life that was discovered by Darth Ndedu centuries prior. Hord scattered much of his teachings in hidden and hard-to-reach locations to ensure only the worthy and powerful could obtain his knowledge. Discovering and conquering the Droman system, it was believed that the Sith Lord conquered over 100 worlds for the Sith Empire. One who did prove worthy during Hord's life was his only known apprentice, Ortan Sella, who came to learn much from the great Sith Master. Appreciating his relationship with the honor-bound Kem Val, Lord Hord placed his servant and ally, suspended animation, inside a stasis chamber deep in the heart of what would later serve as Sith Lord Naga Sadow's tomb on Korriban. Ortan Sella would kill his master not long afterwards, by literally stabbing him in the back, and Sella Dashade's servant, Veshik Uk, consumed the dying Sith Lord's Force energy. Something that is very interesting is that even his apprentice feared him, and only considered stabbing him in the back as the only way to attain true mastery over the Master of Hate. At some point following his death, his loyal minions constructed an enormous tomb for their fallen master in the Valley of the Dark Lords on Korriban. Entombed with him were several tomes of his writings, his holocron, and his mask. Following the conclusion of the Great Hyperspace War and the bombing of Korriban by the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order, much of the histories of Lord Tulak Hord were lost or destroyed. While the tomb remained intact, traps were kept in place to keep looters away and test the worth of any knowledge-seeking Sith. By the time of the Jedi Civil War, several centuries after the retreat of the Sith Empire into the depths of the unknown regions, Jedi Padawan Revan entered the tomb, successfully navigating its traps and discovering the Dark Lord's mask, taking it with him. When he departed, also within the tomb, the Jedi discovered several treasures, including 3 rare lightsaber crystals, an amethyst, a Furikarakan, and a Bondar crystal. Before departing the world, Jedi Revan discovered Sith Master Jorak Ulm hiding within the tomb after the man was disposed of by his fellow master, known as Uthar Wynn, as headmaster of the Sith Academy on Korriban. In the throes of his anguish and madness, Ulm captured Revan and his companions, planning to torture them before executing them in excruciating fashion. While imprisoned, Revan and his companions joined forces with the captured Sith apprentice Mikkel and defeated Master Ulm. Shortly after, the exiled Jedi Mitra Surik investigated the tombs during her journeys, finding it to have been looted and the entrance collapsed. Following the resurgence of the Sith Empire, some of Hord's artifacts were rediscovered. Darth Maul, before gaining a seat on the Sith Emperor's Dark Counselor, and the Dark Council, operated by Vitiate, discovered Hord's lightsaber hidden on the Droman Fells. During the Galactic War, Hord's spirit was one of several Sith spirits that manifested on the moon of Yavin 4 for a brief period of time. During the Cold War, the Sith Inquisitor Acolyte Kalig, a descendant of Hord's defeated rival Aloysius Kalig, awoke and rescued Kem Val. Though initially hostile, the Dash Aid came to view the young Sith as a worthy successor to both their own ancestry and his former master. Now, let's delve into his almost unrivaled Prodigious lightsaber skills that made him one of the most powerful Sith of all time. Tulak Hord was renowned for his legendary dueling capabilities. Centuries upon later, from inquiry from Mitra Surik, Kreia remarked that Hord was the greatest lightsaber duelist of the Sith Lords, going on to say that his skill was considered remarkable even for his time, when many lightsaber masters truly lived, meaning that Tulak Hord was far superior to any lightsaber duelist found in the Old Republic era, with Kreia also revealing that if Surik had to face an ancient Sith Lord in combat, she would learn that we are children playing with toys compared to the prowess of the old masters. And Kreia was someone who had taught Revan, and single-handedly trained both Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion, with Sion going almost undefeated, proclaiming himself as immortal, being a brutal one-handed combatant. Sion was exceptionally skilled, and Nihilus a literal wound in the Force. While his battle power was not up to scratch with his Force abilities, he still was a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. And Revan, the prodigal knight. Revan was considered one of the greatest lightsaber duelists both the Jedi and Sith had ever happened, and was one of the only beings worshipped both by the Jedi and the Sith. Later, Kem Val revealed to Darth Nox that Hord single-handedly broke the sieges led by Jedi to Imperial strongholds in the Yin and Kabosh. Over 1,000 Jedi perished in these battles, with hundreds, if not thousands, perishing by Hord's hand and his very own culling crimson lightsaber blade. Hord was a fearsome master of the dark side and was extraordinarily competent in matters of telekinesis. When Darth Nox approached the ruins of the Endar Spire, Kem Val revealed that the great Tulak Hord once pulled a ship this size from the sky. Hord was also very proficient in the art of Sith sorcery, allowing him to warp various materials and plant organic life in order to be able to stay alive and to manipulate his surroundings. Hord wielded a lightsaber with an orange/crimson coloured blade and was extremely skilled at using it, making him perhaps the greatest lightsaber duelist of all time, with the exception of maybe Exar Kun, but even this is a heavily contested debate. In my opinion, Tulak Hord is absolutely phenomenally powerful, and truly cannot be underestimated. In the top 10, perhaps even top 5 most powerful Sith in all of history. Well, my friends, what did you think of this video? I hope you enjoyed this installment of the Master of the Gathering Darkness, the Lord of Hate, Tulak Hord, the greatest combatant in all of Star Wars, the greatest lightsaber duelist, and one of the most powerful Sith Lords in all of history. one of the only Sith Lords who went truly unrivaled until his last days. Goodbye, my friends, and I'll see you in a galaxy far, far away.